Okay, so we're going to talk today about your database is your business, and specifically why real estate agents have to use Google Voice. It's such an efficiency saver. This is being recorded, so if you have anything personal you don't want to share online, please don't share it here because we're going to record this and share this in some format. So the goal of the program is to make more money in less time using tools efficiently. And I hope that today, if you invest 30 minutes of your time, will save you hours of time, of frustrated administrative time. And by saving you hours of that, you'll get a return on investment multiple times. My hope is you'll save 3 or 4 hours for the half hour you spend today. If you're up for that, say yes. Okay, so let's see. So the overview of Google Voice is there's about 14, I think I changed it. I believe at the end of the day, I came up with 15 different tools that I believe is specifically real estate agents can use to become, actually it came with 16. Real estate agents can use to be more effective with time. And I think the key thing as real estate agents is all we have is time. And so it's very important we learn how we can shortcut things that don't pay us money. And so you can see here on the graphic all the different things that Google Voice represents. You have a cell phone, you have different people, it relates to your office phone, your cell phone, maybe your online service, voice messages. Google Voice really integrates all that. That's what we're talking about today. As real estate agents, we're really involved in the talk to the people business. So the first thing is it's a unified inbox. One of the great efficiencies is all your messages can go to one place. Your phone call messages, or your phone calls. If somebody called you or didn't, it all goes to one place if you set it up properly. All your texts can go to one place, and all your voice messages. Now you can set the one place up to be Google Mail and have your Google Voice forwarded there, or you can have your calls and text and voice all go to Google Voice. I have everything going to Google Mail, and that's the only thing I check because in other programs, I also only have to check there for important messages. So our goal there is we can make the phone calls all come to our Google Voice rather than our company phone. So when I worked for a company that had its own voicemail system, I had them disconnect, or there's a setting to close my voicemail box. So I never had to check the office messages. And the receptionist was trained to forward my calls to what they thought was my mobile phone, which really was my Google Voice number, which rang my cell phone and every phone that I had. And then if I didn't answer, it went to voicemail that way. And I still use that same phone number today. So I've changed companies. I used to work in the Inland Empire in Orange County. Now I'm in West LA. And I don't work for that company. I have the same phone number, and it reaches me everywhere. So all my messages, all my voice and text and calls all go to one place, which is obviously very efficient. Also, you have the stress of running through missed messages because you didn't check one of your several voicemail box systems. The second thing is that after a unified inbox is you get your voicemails transcribed. Has anybody in this call used Google Voice and got the transcribed messages? If you have, go ahead and say aye. Anybody at all? Powerful tool, really powerful. You can see in this graphic just a sample of what it looks like. But what happens is it works about 80% of the time, 75% of the time. So instead of just getting they have a message, or instead of just getting an email with a phone number that I might recognize, it attempts to actually transcribe the message, and many times transcribes the phone number as well. Hold on a second. So what it does is gives me the ability to quickly read this, right? If I got a voicemail and I knew it was from Google Voice, I could just delete it in less time than listening to the message or dialing in codes on a company system. So it's a very efficient way. And like I said, about 75 to 80% of the time, I can actually read the transcription, and there's a little feature that'll ask you, is this message helpful or not? If you put yes or no, it will start to learn from you what messages make sense. It will learn the jargon, the specific words that you use to help you be more productive. So it's a very powerful time-saving tool. The next feature that's fantastic is it's integrated with Google Contacts. Now, I happen to use Google Mail, and it saves all my contacts in the Google Contacts. And so you can see when I get a voice message, It will have a picture of the person if I have their picture associated with that contact and their name. So if I talk to somebody 6 months ago and they call me back, I'll get in my message the picture of them and I'll have their name to my phone book, connecting all together the voice messages and my contacts and my emails. Much more efficient way to know who called you rather than just guessing or trying to remember the number. Who besides me has got a phone number you didn't recognize, you thought you recognized it, and you called, it was somebody you regretted calling? Who's ever had that experience before? Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we all have. So if you know who it is, you won't make that mistake or have that uncomfortable phone call. So a very powerful feature as well. Number 4 is you have one phone number for all your phones. Anybody who ever has tried to call me, I have one phone number I give out all the time. You can see here in the graphic, you then register each of your, it gives you the option to get a phone number in different area codes. I live in 310, so I have a 310 Google Voice number. I had different accounts. So at my old job, I had a 909 and a 949 Google Voice as well. And then you attach each of your phones to the account. So when you call me on my Google Voice, I've registered, I have 2 cell phones I use, one for during the week, one for weekends, because I'm a techie. I have my home office phone connected, my home phone connected only for certain people, and my desk phone at the office connected. I used to have 4 different desks at my old job, and I could ring the phone at either one of those lines as well. So it kept me in contact those days, I think, with 8 phones. Phenomenal tool. If in your office you have a desk, and then you have a separate desk maybe you prospect from, you could ring that one as well. So the phone,
a message has been received.
so you can receive the messages at your prospecting station if that's what you do. Also, when you call people using Google Voice, the caller ID they get is your Google Voice number. So you can use that if you're using a dialer system, or maybe you're at your mother's house and you want the calls to come back to her. You dial into Google Voice and then dial from there, and then your customers only see that one caller ID. Very, very efficient to have one phone number no matter what phone you come from. Number 5 is you can set personalized greetings for different people. You can have a greeting set for different types of leads, like buyers versus sellers versus real estate agents versus family. I have one for my wife, so when she calls, she gets a special personal message from me, my daughter. So it's a fun way with friends or family, and it's a very efficient way with business. Let's say, like, I had a really hot listing one time. It was a short sale. It was one of those kind of listings where I would get 30, 40 phone calls a day, and certain agents would keep calling, asking the same question. So I actually created a voicemail on that one listing. And if you called me, the message you would get is, I see you're calling, I believe you're calling about my listing at 124 6th Street in Santa Monica. I set up a website with all the questions just for agents. Here's the website. Here's how you get the info. And that way you don't have to take those phone calls. So very efficient way to create greetings. And that way you're I don't know about you guys, but I always wonder, what does a seller think when they call your voicemail and you say, if you're calling about my listing at 123 Main Street, it's an escrow. Well, might the seller think he only has one listing? Versus you could segment your groups and have a voicemail just for real estate agents, or you have one just for your customers, so they hear the message that you want them to get. So it's a very powerful feature called personalized greetings. Next is international calling. It's just like Skype, where it has a very inexpensive per minute charge for various countries. I have a daughter who traveled to Israel, and a brother who lives there. I forget how much it was per minute, but I want to say it was very inexpensive, similar to Skype. But I don't need a separate Skype account. It's the same phone number. I just dial from my phone at home or my phone through Google Voice and would access international calls at very cheap international rates, free throughout the United States. I think in Canada and Mexico also free. So very, very inexpensive international calling. Number 7 is it's SMS texting on steroids. What do I mean by that? So I know a lot of people don't like texting. And one reason why is they don't like texting because they have to use the phone. They think they have to use the phone keyboard in order to respond, right? But most of my texting I do from my keyboard at my desk, because I use Google Voice to respond to text. If you text me, I'll probably text you back when I'm at my computer. And that gives me the ability to copy and paste things, send the same message to multiple people. It's a phenomenal tool. It also allows me to search texts. So if I want to say, well, what time did I tell Joe to meet me? I can go back and look at the text on my computer and see, oh, I told him 7 o'clock. So it really is a way to ramp up the communication channel of SMS, short message service, texting. To really ramp up and make that system much more efficient for you and productive for you. Number 8 is you can have your text go to email. A lot of people say, well, I don't like having to carry my phone or look at my phone. So Google Voice has a feature where it will, if you wanted to, send all your text to your email. And what's nice is you get pictures there. You can save them on your computer. You can respond back from your computer screen again. Gives you another record and a way to receive the messages. So again, it's just SMS really on steroids is what I call it. Number 9 is it's a very efficient way to share your voice messages. Now, as a real estate agent, why might you want to share a message you got? Think of an example. So one example might be if a customer is really happy about you, leaves a very nice message, you can save it and post it on your website or post it to Facebook or share it with people. Another is you might get a message, let's say, from a customer with questions, and you can just forward that email message to your lender or escrow and say, hey, Mr. Jones is calling me about this. Can you please help him? And you don't have to listen to the message. You're just forwarding it. You have a record that you sent it, and they can hear the actual message themselves. So a very powerful tool for sharing messages. I think we all, when we hear the voice of a customer, it's just a more effective way to communicate. I use this particularly when someone leaves me a message when they're upset with some service. I can forward it to the party they're upset with and say, Mr. Jones is unhappy, can you please help him? And they'll hear the reality of how an unhappy customer says, not as punishment, but they can actually appreciate the position I'm in as an agent. Number 9 is recording calls. And I use this a lot as a coach because, and I think it's a great tool for role play when I was an agent. I use this every day for role play. You can only record inbound calls, but it's free. Somebody calls you, you press 4, it says the call is now being recorded. At the end of the call, you'll see down where it says more, you click on that, there's a little drop down that says download, and you can download the voicemail in MP3, the standard audio format. Unlike Apple phones, iPhones that use a special Apple audio you may not be able to listen to, this is MP3, almost every audio system can hear it. And then you can either email the recording link, or you can download the recorded file and upload it somewhere or send it as an attachment. Very powerful tool, particularly for role playing. My rule was to always to record any role play. You can hear yourself, and I think that would double the value of the role play. And also, as a coach, with your staff, you can record those calls because if you're going to role play with someone in your staff, you can use that recording for them to listen to it another time. So a very, very powerful tool, recording your phone calls. Any questions? Raise your hand. I don't see any questions. I'm going to continue. Number 11 is you can block and screen callers. I don't get, it's funny, I talk to so many people and I don't get that many telemarketers I don't want that call me regularly, but occasionally I do. And so very easily from the voicemail inbox, if you get a message you don't like, you just click on it. You can tell them they're a spammer or you want to block their messages and they'll go directly to voicemail. What's nice is when you block it, they just hear like your phone's been disconnected, so they'll stop calling you. So if you have, like in my case, I have a very common name, Bill. There are a lot of Bill Grosses in the world. There's probably 10 in Los Angeles. And so I get phone calls from creditors or salespeople looking for the wrong person, and they'll call again and again and again. And once it's the wrong person, I'll just put them in the block, and then they'll never call me again. As real estate agents, we all get wackos. We all get wacko co-op agents or buyers who try to scam us. It's a very effective way to keep that clean. Number 12 is it has a mobile app, so what's nice is that you can use almost all the Google features on your iPhone, or it's built into the Google phone. So a very, very powerful way to really bring with you an entire reception system. One of my favorites for real estate agents is Do Not Disturb. Now, are there any agents on this call who should prospect more than they are, and when they do prospect, should prospect uninterrupted? Go ahead and say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that's all of us, right? So what I do, like for this call, is I simply put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And that way, any incoming phone call for that time period goes directly to voicemail. It won't ring, it doesn't buzz. Now, my phone normally, I should say 99% of the time, I have it silent and no vibration. So normally I don't hear it. The desk phones ring. But when I put Google Voice Do Not Disturb on, any call to that number goes directly to voicemail. Really nice feature. Who should be doing that when you prospect? Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, all of us should. Sure. Thanks, Jim. Next is your message becomes searchable. What do I mean by searchable? Searchable means it's Google Voice. It's not some other company voice. What is Google at their core as a company? What's the thing they do best is search. What's nice is who was that customer? Who called on that property? Where do they live? I go to my voicemail system, type in their name, type in the last 4 digits of their phone number. Who's that person again? You get messages. You don't know who they are. Maybe they left a couple messages for you. Oftentimes people try to fool you. They'll call 2 or 3 times and use a different name, and it's a great tool as a real estate agent to protect yourself before you commit to showing property or find out who the buyer's agent is or is a customer somehow, really working with a real estate agent. So all your messages become searchable. Very, very powerful for transactions as well. I'll have agents who say, well, I didn't say that. And I can go into Google search, sort the text or sort the voicemail and send the voicemail and say, well, this is what I heard. What did you mean to say when you did this? We've all gone through life where we wish somebody had a video camera, like especially if you're married. Don't you wish at times you had a video camera between you and your spouse so you could go back and roll back a half hour and say, oh, hey, this is what you said. Who would like to have that? Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, everybody who's married would love that. So here's a case where you really do, that any incoming message, text, or voice, you can go back and search it. Very effective for using with staff or co-op agents. Number 15 is a very free and easy to use conference call feature where you have one phone call on your Google Voice, you get another one, and every time it gives you the option to either drop the first call or merge them together. It's as simple as that. They don't need a special code. There's no special line. It's just your regular Google Voice line. Has that built in, and any phone call comes in, theoretically, when you get a second call, you can merge it in together. Very efficient when you have a husband, wife, they're trying to get some answers together, you're trying to call escrow, find out when people can sign documents. Very, very efficient. Free phone calls from any computer in the world. I carry with me a small laptop called a Google Chromebook, and as long as I have internet access, it has in there a voice, either through the speaker in the computer or I plug in a little headset sometimes. And it has a video camera. It also will go automatically from voice to video if you have somebody you're calling the other end, but it's free. So it's like carrying around a phone with you when you want to work with people. Very efficient for when you're traveling. You go to a hotel, they have Wi-Fi. If you have a good internet connection, you can make phone calls. Even if your phone battery ran out or you lost your phone, it's a great tool for that. Okay, so there's a couple additional resources. If you email me or I'm going to post this, there'll be a link. There's a video series by Google on each of these points, how to make it work better for you. There's a Google Voice YouTube channel that has some different videos of how to use these different features. And then I just changed from 15 to 16. I created a document called My Top 16 Tools of Google Voice. So if you email me any feedback on this call, you like it, you hate it, you post it on the testimonial page or on the Google, on the YouTube channel, up or down, any input, I'll be more than glad to give you a link of a copy of these slides, as well as my top 16 tools lined out that you can use as a checklist. You have to use them all, but what if you added one of these a month in a year? How much more time can you save? How much more effective could you be in your communication if you did that? So again, this is not about necessarily lead generating, it's saving time. I hope my goal was in the 30 minutes we spend that you'd be able to save hours of time wasted chasing numbers and messages and being frustrated over losing phone numbers that should come to an end. Any questions on what we covered here today? Any questions on that? You can type them in, or if you want to ask them real quick, I'm going to unmute everybody at the risk of some background noise. Any questions we covered about the Google tools? No?
No, I found this to be very helpful. This is Perry.
Good.
I'm probably like a lot of people, I have 3 different Gmail accounts.
Yes.
And, I'm always logging out of one of them and logging into the other one and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, how do I, on the computer anyways, it seems like a royal pain in the butt, although it works pretty good on the cell phone. So maybe going to the YouTube videos and watching the YouTube Google Voice channel might be of help as well.
I think so. Thank you for the feedback. So share with me, I also have multiple Google accounts, but I only had to log into one. Why do you need to log into the other ones? Why can't you get them all to work together? Have you not just taken the time to set it up yet?
Probably because I don't know how to set it up yet.
Okay.
I have one with my Partners Trust account, which is the brokerage I work for, and I have my Terry Schroeder at gmail.com account, which is great. And then I have one for sort of everything else that's sort of Spanish in terms of emails and that I want to keep separate.
Well, so you probably with some planning can. I have 3 or 4 active Google accounts from different parts of my business in the past, and I merged them all into one. I still get messages occasionally on the old one. When I was a real estate agent, I had one Google account, so I have to be able to access it from time to time. But definitely there are some tools you can use to consolidate. I do know that when a company issues you a Google Apps account, which is a little different, and my company does, I find that hard to work with because they really want you to be in one or the other. And so I just forward the mail from the company one, to my private Google account. So
right.
Let's show you some ideas on how, to get you specifically at some point how to do that. We don't want to do that here because we're recording this, but that's a common issue for people to get more involved with it. But I think you'll find with some planning, there's no reason why you can't really operate out of one. And I'd be able to do it. Okay.
Okay, I'll do a little more research.
Good. Gia asked a question, or email me if you have any questions that come up along the way. Email me, maybe I have some resources for you. Gia asked a question about will the videos teach you how to use Google Voice and the different products, and the answer is it's the different features within Google Voice. Absolutely yes. It's step by step. They have a little video short on almost all of those features we talked about today. Again, my goal here was to supplement that, saying how a realtor in particular will use it, because we have different issues. For example, I describe myself as kind of like the technology equivalent of a streetwalker, in that I worked for a big company, but I interface with a lot of other big companies. Normally people at big companies, if you work at Boeing or you work at Google, 90% of their contacts are within their company, or maybe 1 or 2 key customers. Real estate agents typically work for a good-sized company, 200 agents or more. Some of us work for companies that had 500, 1,000, 3,000 agents in our network, or franchise 100,000. But as customers, our customers tend to work at every different company in town, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to be as broad and as easy to work with as possible. And I find in the corporate environments, it used to be the Outlook, and probably still is in big companies, the dominant tool. But Google is definitely a way to reach people in different systems. And so when a company gives a Google Apps, you have to think about, do you want to be kind of locked into the company's services or not? And so some different tricks on how to get out of that. Okay, great question. And then yes, Gia, each of those videos will cover some of those topics. And if you have any particular questions, please email me or feel free to reach out to me. Great questions. Any other good questions? Okay, so again, appreciate any feedback, up or down, loved it, hated it. If you hated it, suggestions on what I did wrong or what I could do better next time. If you do any kind of feedback at all, I'll be glad to give you the outline with the additional resources, the top tools of Google Voice, so you can create a checklist and maybe make a goal to implement 1 a month or 1 a week or something to add that to your system. I really appreciate your guys' time today. Thank you so much, everybody.
Sure. Thank you, Bill.